Hey crafty friends, it's Jeannie and I'm back to share this really pretty floral card featuring the Life is Good stamp set from Syberia Designs. This is one of the first stamp sets I had picked up when her shop open, and it is so pretty. It does have a coordinating stencil, but I decided that I'm going to feature a really easy coloring method for this floral design. It's really easy to do, and I'm using highlighters, not even Copic markers. So I have these Mildliners. They have a chisel tip, and then they have like a bullet nib tip, and these are highlighters that I've gotten off of Amazon. I use them for my planning, and you know what? You can also color with them. If you have Tombow markers, you can use them as well. Anything that you would like. You can still use your Copics or alcohol markers. There's just so many ways to color, and I am only using 2 different color highlighters for each area. So for the green, I will lay down my base color, which is the lightest color, and then I will go in with my darker color and kind of just draw in the shadows in the highlights. There's no blending involved at all, which is a little different from my Copic coloring because usually I use 3 colors. I blend out with the middle color and the light colors for the highlight. But I had used this in my planner because I have a planner that doesn't work with Copic markers and those markers bleed through. So you always have to kind of come up with different ways to color it up unless you want to bleed through to the other pages. And because I really liked how it looked in my planner, I decided to make a card with it because not everyone has Copic markers, not everyone has alcohol markers, but everyone has like those Crayola markers or highlighters or Tombow markers, which are a little bit cheaper on price point. So this is like a really easy method. For the leaves, I went in with a base of green for some of the sprigs, and then for the leafy areas, I went in with teal. And I did change it up by using a lighter green for some of the leaves and then a darker teal for the other remaining leaves, and it just gives it a very different look. It gives it a little variety. I don't have that many highlighter colors, even though I have a good significant amount of highlighters. I don't have like nearly as many Copic markers. I don't have nearly as many highlighters as I do Copic markers, so my choice of color variety is a little bit different. I just kind of went with it, and you can see here that was the green with the teal. It just gives it a different look, and then I'm going in with the teal for a darker look, which is a little bit more bold. So it's just a matter of how bold you want it. And honestly, I didn't really have much of a choice with my highlighters because I just don't have that many colors, but I had enough color for 2 of each like color area that I wanted to do. So I'm basically going in and doing the same thing. I decided to kind of do like a rainbow array of colors for the florals. So I start off with this like corally color, which kind of is similar to red. It's the closest, I think. And then I'll just move on to orange, yellow, pink, and purple, which I thought was really fun. I just wanted to show off the variety of the different colors that I had because why not? I have them. And I thought it was really pretty. So this method, it actually really works for Copic markers as well when I just am looking for lazy coloring and I don't want to do any blending. And sometimes I find that the harsh highlight or shadow areas actually make the image look more defined versus having it blend out and kind of look solid. Like when you blend it out, it looks a little bit more subtle, at least to me. I definitely have been trying to create these videos more often. I'm trying to put them out once a week, and I am kind of running low on ideas because I do a lot of coloring, and I also have a hard time balancing work and my other crafty projects. So if you guys have any ideas of what you would like to see, please leave them down below. I asked for suggestions, but I don't get that many. I mean, it doesn't even have to be around a card making. It could be planning or like if you're interested in organizing. I'm actually not organized very well right now. I have this whole plan of doing a de-stash for my crafty room, and I just want to get rid of some stuff that just have been sitting around that I'm not using because I just tend to buy and buy. So for the pink color, I think that this is the most harsh of the 2 colors. The pink is really light, and then the darker color pink that I have is very dark, so you can really see that harshness of it, but I actually ended up really liking how it looked. The yellow, I think, is the most subtle difference of the 2 colors because you can barely see it. I had almost contemplated going back in with a darker like the light orange just to add a little bit more depth. But with yellow, generally is really hard to get dimension. For the middle parts of the florals, I just went in with a brown. I don't have multiple colors of that, so I just went in with a solid brown, and I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I decided that I wanted to create kind of a bar at the bottom and incorporate a little bit more brown into this. So I used this Misti ruler and a journaling pen just to draw 2 lines, and I'll color it up using the brown. And then after I colored it in, I did go in with a little bit of lines just to make it look more wood grain. And the thing with this is that you're coloring with highlighters, so they don't blend because they're not intended to blend at all. So you do sometimes get the harsh lines as you color, but I think it just kind of adds to the quirk of the coloring itself. And since it's going to be consistent throughout the image, it won't be a big deal. So once I color the solid area, I'll go back in and add just a few lines to add that wood grain look. For the sentiment, I decided just to go in with a super simple one, and I went with be happy, mainly because I didn't plan out the sentiment, so I didn't have room for the other sentiments that would work at the bottom of the card. I also did trim this down a little bit because I did want to mat it on gray cardstock just to have that finished look. My preference is to mat my card panels, and I do this often with my card. Then I decided to use that same floral stamp and stamp on the sides because it just really looked empty. And once I was done, I went ahead and backed the card panel with double-sided adhesive. And this is my trick for getting down a panel straight when I am using double-sided adhesive. I'll release the corners and kind of fold it back and not remove the entire release paper yet. I'll place it right on top of my panel and then make sure that everything is straight. And once I'm happy with it, I will press on the 4 corners of the card panel because that's where the release paper is removed, and then push everything down, then pull out the release paper. So once I finished adding it to card panel, I went in with my gray highlighter and I just added a shadow to it. It looks a little plain to me, so I thought the shadow just gave it a little bit more dimension, kind of popped it out. I also contemplating coloring in the florals on the bottom with the gray, but I decided to leave it alone. And I think it just makes it a little bit more quirky. I actually had thought about redoing this card because I don't know if I love this card or not, but I wanted to share it because I already went ahead and colored, and it's a cool method for someone who might be starting out crafting, not having that many marker supplies. You can pull out like Crayolas, you can pull out highlighters, you can pull out like cheaper alternatives, and you don't necessarily have to have them blend at all. And so it works really well. So my method for shadowing isn't really a method. It was kind of just like I stayed to the right hand side of the florals, and then I got confused when it moved over. And so yeah, I think that for that, it doesn't really matter. So just do what you want and it'll look fine. So that is it for today's card. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.